Do I have to? Okay, fine. Last time I talked about Barcelona, we had just fathered Real Madrid 4-0 at the Bernabeu. We would continue our winning ways against Espanyol, where new signing Dani Olmo scored a brace. In the Champions League, we would put 5 past Red Star Belgrade, where somehow this foul on Pau Cubarsí wasn't a red card. Anyways, we would win 5-2, and with our winning streak, it seemed like nothing could go wrong.
それからあとはもう坂を転げ落ちるように。
It would go very wrong as we would lose to Real Sociedad in our next game, where absolutely nothing controversial happened. Nope, nothing to see here. In our next match against Celta Vigo, the man in form Rafinha gave Barca an early lead. The lead was doubled in the second half by Robert Lewandowski, and I could be confident in this game. Celta Vigo are notorious for bottling, and we won both matches against them last season with late comebacks, so surely this won't be any different. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Disappointingly, Barca would throw away their 2-0 lead against Celta Vigo after losing control of the game following Casado's red card. Thankfully, our bad form wouldn't carry through to the Champions League as we comfortably beat Brest. Wait, hold on, that came out wrong. Our form wouldn't carry through to the Champions League as we took care of Brest. I feel like I'm on CBS. In the next game, Barcelona would continuously pepper the Las Palmas net, but unfortunately, nothing could find the back of the net. It's okay though, if we keep this up, then Barca wouldn't stay down for long as Captain Fantastic Rafinha equalizes for the Coolers. With the momentum back with Barcelona, we would... No! And so, despite having 27 shots, Barcelona lose to Las Palmas at home. Worse yet, Real Madrid were closing the gap with only 2 points between us. Worse yet, Los Blancos had a game at hand. Miraculously, Real would lose their next game against Athletic Club, and Barcelona would finally go back to winning against Mallorca. Even Ferran Torres scored. Did hell freeze over? Our next match against Real Betis would start well as Lewandowski put Barca ahead, but in the second half, De Jong shoves Victor Roque in the box and Lo Celso scores the penalty. Barca would fight back, however, as Ferran Torres scores again. That's 2 matches in a row where it happened. We're winning it all. Kill me. Yet again, Barcelona bottled their lead, and for anyone who is curious, that is now 1 win in 5 La Liga games. And next up was a Champions League match against Borussia Dortmund. The first half ended goalless, but early in the second half, Rafinha took the lead. Just a few minutes later, Cubarsí gives away the dumbest penalty ever and Guirassy equalizes for Dortmund. But in the 75th minute, believe it or not, Ferran Torres retakes the lead for Barca. Then, a few minutes later, Inaki Onana gets caught in no man's land and Dortmund pull level again. Fret not though, because this is Dortmund and their clutch energy is more non-existent than stable Wi-Fi at UBC. The backline gives Ferran way more time to react than he deserved, and he scored again. 3-2 to Barcelona, Ferran Torres proving everyone wrong, including me. We are so back. Think again. The Leganes match, it was at this point when I started dreading watching Barcelona again. Not only did we lose, this was right after Real drew against Rayo Vallecano. Barca squandered another chance to extend their lead in the league. Yet again, we got an absurd amount of shots, but couldn't win. 1 in 6. At least we can restore our form against Atletico Madrid. Now, despite Barca's horrendous form, I actually had a bit of confidence in this game, believe it or not. At this point, Barcelona were on a 5-game winning streak against Atletico Madrid, no matter how awful we were, and although those were new depths we hadn't plunged into before, there was always that little bit of hope. It would indeed start well as Pedri Potter gave us the lead in the first half, but in the second half, Casado's failed back heel resulted in a Rodrigo de Paul equalizer. Barcelona would continue pressing for a winner, but by the 96th minute with both sides still in a deadlock, the game would end in a draw. How could this happen to me? I made a mistake. Got nowhere to run. After that crushing loss, Barca now have 1 win in 7 La Liga matches. Not only that, we've been leapfrogged by Atletico in the table. Oh, and Real as well. So, now we're in 3rd. I know I sound like a broken record by now, but once again, we outshoot the opponents, but can't win the match. It feels like we're winning the battle but losing the war. Actually, no, scratch that. We're losing both. Now that we're caught up with Barca's season so far, it's time to ask the crucial question, the one everyone's dying to know the answer to. What on earth happened? Is this some kind of divine punishment? What did I do to deserve this? I swear, it was like Barca saw how the China national team was finally starting to get their act together, and they thought, nope, Unilife is too happy. I know, let's start losing to relegation candidates. That way he'll be miserable again. We restore balance to the universe. Everyone is happy. Except Barca fans. Anyways, let's go over the player performances. After having the game of his life against Real Madrid, Iñaki Peña has gone back to being Iñaki Peña. No, I don't think he's Ter Stegen's long-term successor. Don't get me wrong, the Dortmund era aside, he is genuinely really good at sweeping. But more often than not, his shot stopping is disastrous. If you're a player facing Iñaki Peña and you apply the slightest angle to your shot, chances are he won't reach it. This was even noticeable in El Clasico, where most of Mbappe's shots were at Peña, and we also got lucky that he forgot how the offside rule worked. It also doesn't help that, by his own admission, Szczesny isn't ready to start, so for the time being, Peña is the uncontested starter. But let's be fair, our keepers aren't helped at all by what's happening ahead of them. Since our win in El Clasico, the defense has been worse than China's, and that says a lot. Inigo Martinez and Pau Cubarsí have kind of dropped off in form. Koundé has also been kinda unreliable lately. It doesn't help that with Christensen still injured, our next best option at center back is Eric Garcia. Honestly, I think I'd rather just take a random 9-year-old from La Masia than start him again. The defense's problems are nothing new, just that they've gotten worse lately. Even before our form plummeted, it seemed like Barcelona were allergic to clean sheets because without a fast center-back like Araujo, when our offside trap falls apart, it frequently leaves opponents unmarked. The midfield is probably the only thing that has stayed consistent throughout this horrible stretch of form, but for all the chances they've generated, our attack has really let them down, frequently outshooting the opponent while poor finishing has stunk up the show, not to mention our attack has an over-reliance on Rafinha and especially Lamine Yamal. To at least bring some positivity into this, Ferran Torres is showing genuine improvement. I don't think his ball control is good enough to be a winger or even a starter, but as a rotation option for Lewandowski, I think he works. Speaking of rotation, this is one of our main problems. As I predicted months ago, our depth has indeed become a problem. Watch any of our matches and you'll probably notice our starting 11 almost never changes. Gee, no wonder the players are fatigued. And while our injury list hasn't been as bad as Real's, we still have our fair share of problems. Yamal is already showing warning signs of being overworked, Bernal is out for the season, Ter Stegen too, Araujo only recently came back and hasn't played yet, Christensen is close to returning, so yeah, it's a whole mess at this point. I've done all the writing for this script that I can for now, so future me, provide some updates. On to you. So, it hasn't gotten any better. Remember how the club could only register Dani Olmo on a temporary basis? Well, that's come back to bite us. With Christensen coming back, Olmo's registration is on the verge of expiring, and Barca's lawsuit to extend the registration just got rejected. Meaning, if Barcelona can't meet FFP rules by the end of the year, Olmo could leave on a free. That's right, our €55 million transfer of the summer is at risk of leaving for free only 6 months later. But luckily, Deco is doing everything he can to then Deco strikes again. Speaking of him, I recently found a headline from September that Barcelona were reportedly happy with his transfers. Is it opposite day? What delusional world is Laporta living in? Someone teach me his ways. Maybe I can actually trick myself into thinking China can make the World Cup. I really shouldn't need to say this because it's clear for the world to see, but Barca fans hate Deco's transfer business. Deco's transfers have genuinely been a bigger mess than East Hastings. Every single transfer he made, aside from maybe Inigo Martinez, has been absolutely horrible. Where do we even start? Romeu, Roque, letting Gundogan go for free, extending Lenglet's contract as if we haven't suffered enough, and now potentially Olmo too. On top of all of that, we've recently been linked with Nico Williams again. And also Rafael Leao for good measure. Now listen here, Bindeco. I realize that listening isn't exactly your strong suit, but considering everything I just mentioned, how are we supposed to afford their wages? There is at least a glimmer of hope in this situation, being that Barcelona just secured a VIP seating deal worth 100 million euros. So maybe, just maybe, we can get Olmo for the rest of the season. Oh, but that's not all! Recently, the Spanish Football Federation elected Rafael Luzan as their new president, a guy with a history of embezzlement. And I kid you not, one of the first things he did was praise Florentino Perez to the high heavens. The corruption here is so cartoonishly blatant, not even Shakespeare could make it up. Not only that, but guess who he made vice president? Javier Tebas.
There's 2 of them?
One Madridista wasn't enough. It just had to be 2. I really shouldn't need to tell you why Javier Tebas is so hated.
El patrote hinchado y grasoso.
But now, he's been made vice president of the Spanish Federation, despite stating before that he's a Real Madrid fan, along with another self-reported Real Madrid fan. Please, someone, just... Anyways, I think that's enough ranting to last me until March when China play again. Oh boy, can't wait. Unless something else comes up, and knowing this club, that'll probably happen. Barcelona's next match is against a 4th-tier side in the Copa del Rey, and on paper it should be a win, but I've said that many times over the past few weeks, and I really don't know at this point. This might be cope. It is cope, actually, but even if it'll be a little disappointing, I don't mind if Barcelona don't win La Liga this season. I don't think anyone expected us to overperform like we did at the start, but if we run out of steam and finish 2nd or something, I mean, that's fine. It's a long-term project. Being 2nd isn't really the end of the world. I still trust Flick to make things right given enough time. That all said, not all is lost because the season is only halfway through. Also, we're still doing well in the Champions League. For all we know, our winless streak might just be a wake-up call for the players and management alike. Also, maybe the recent break we had is enough to get over the fatigue we've accumulated so far. You know, that's a huge reason why we've been underperforming, so who knows, maybe that gets better. That's all from me for now. Sorry this one took so long. A lot of things happened. I was working on a Whitecaps video during exam season, and then Barca's form dropped to the point where I just had to talk about it. So I switched over to this one, and then after exam season, I got kind of burned out, so I should be back on track now. I think. If you like this video, like and subscribe, follow my Twitter, yada yada yada. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time. Take care.